This movie is not quite what I expected it to be. Back to Black is the biopic that tells of the rise and tragic demise of the fantastic Amy Winehouse. And in a lot of instances, it plays out like a typical biopic, but there are a couple of key differences that makes this stand apart. The first thing I noticed about this movie is that it was kind of fast-paced for a biopic. And not only was it paced a little bit faster, but the speed in which we moved added to the tragicness and sadness that I felt watching it. There comes a point in most biopics where we do a time jump. We see them get their big break, and then we jump to later on in their career. With this movie, we just kept going. After she gets signed, we just keep moving, and you constantly realize that she starts so young and she stays young. She passes so early. Her career is very impactful, but it's very short because her life is too short. And that's evident in every scene, and that just makes every scene weigh that much more on you. The other major thing that sets Back to Black apart from other musical biopics is just how integral the music is to the narrative of the film.
I need to live my songs, so that's what I'm gonna go and do.
Like a lot of movies about musicians are one straight narrative and then music sprinkled in, and the tone of the music will fit the tone of whatever scene we're putting it in, but it mostly comprises of just one story with the artist's greatest hits sprinkled on top. But with Amy, these songs are a literal soundtrack to her life. So in the film, they serve almost as chapters or checkpoints, because we'll see the events of her life play out, and then we'll see them morph into what would become one of her songs, and that kind of puts an end or a bookmark on that chapter, and then we start the next one, and then that culminates into another song, and then we move on to the next point. And somehow watching the events of her life play out and then culminate into each of these songs makes listening to the songs that much more powerful, which is crazy to think of, because when you listen to them without watching the movie, they are immensely powerful, and you can hear the emotion, the pain, the heartache in every note of her songs. But this just amplifies that tenfold. At the end of the day, Back to Black showcases how young Amy was and how she got wrapped up in a whirlwind of trauma and heartache and addiction, but also she moved to her own beat. She was her own person, and she endeavored to live her authentic self. And that is what made her so popular, but that also is what contributed to her self-destruction. It was a powerful message, and it's a hard thing for a movie to do, to make someone the victim but also not completely innocent. Like, Amy was not pure, and she was flawed, and they showed that, and they didn't shy away from that, but she was still human, and she was still a great person, and they were able to balance those things and, to me, show a full picture of who she was. But as with all things, the most important part is the debate and the discussion. But as with all things here, the most important part is the debate and the discussion. So what do you think about musical biopics in general, and what do you think about Back to Black and them showcasing Amy Winehouse in this way? Let me know what you think, and we can get into it, and I'll catch you guys next time.